Thanks for coming along on this artistic journey. We'll be doing 2-point linear perspective, and this will be a 5-part series. So do all 5 parts and you'll understand 2-point perspective. We'll start out with part 1. Thanks for being here today and joining me on this little artistic journey. Today we're doing 2-point linear perspective. We're going to start out fairly simple. We're just going to start out with some boxes, if you will. The first thing we have to understand is our eye level line. Some people call it a horizon line, but that is the line at which your eye level is. And so I'm going to call it the eye level line. We'll label that here. Eye level line. And that's the line at which you view your world. If you were to stand there, if you were standing right there, your eyes would be right on that level. And no matter how large the figure you are, that's where you'll be. And that is, and the reason I do it like this is because your point of view is very important. Your viewer gets a sense of size by where that eye level is, and if your eye level is lower, then your viewer kind of feels large. If your eye level is higher, then your viewer feels kind of small. During the Renaissance, they used to use point of views to express emotion or feeling and to convey that feeling through the viewer. Today we do the same thing in motion pictures. We do camera placement. It just kind of helps the viewer to get a sense of the action, the drama, whatever is taking place there. In 1-point perspective, we had one vanishing point. It's usually about right there in the middle, and everything receded to that point. In 2-point perspective, our objects are slightly askew. And so in order to give us the maximum amount of space that we have to work with, we're going to put our vanishing points on either side. There's a vanishing point right there on the edge of the paper, and clear over here on the other side. Get rid of all that. And here's a vanishing point over here. And so as we draw our objects, and we're going to start out fairly simple, we'll just start out with a block. Instead of drawing a block like we did in 1-point perspective, all we need to do is draw our leading edge, that edge at which the object is kind of twisted and turned towards us. In 1-point perspective, our object is kind of flat, and we start out with a rectangle. In 2-point perspective, our object is tilted, and we actually end up with 2 different sides receding the space up to our eye level line. So we just start out with that leading edge, and we take each side to our vanishing point. So one goes up to that vanishing point on that side, the other goes up to the vanishing point on this side. Remember, these are called orthogonal lines, O-R-T-H-O-G-O-N-A-L, orthogonal lines. And in 2-point perspective, you really only have to deal with 2 lines. In 1-point perspective, you deal with 3 lines, horizontals, verticals, and orthogonals. Here, we only have to deal with the verticals and the orthogonals. But the closer you get to your eye level line and the vanishing points, the more level your lines become. And so as we go out towards our vanishing points, then we can end that off anywhere we want to. We can say to ourselves, well, I want to end it off right here. And so I'm just going to end this here. Now with 1-point perspective, where you end off your back edges are dictated by your first line. But here in 2-point perspective, you can actually dictate where either edge or either side is going to end up. And so over here, maybe we don't want it as wide as this. Maybe we want it a little more narrow. You can do that same thing. Just remember, your front edge and your back edge have to be parallel. They have to line up, be parallel one to another. And that's why I like these grafting rulers, is because you can see through them and line up things. Then all you got to do is take this edge to your opposite vanishing point. So whatever's on the right side goes to the left vanishing point, and whatever's on the left side goes to the right vanishing point, and where they meet, that's your back edge, that's your back corner. So in 2-point perspective, things become a little more realistic in their way they are, because rarely are things straight on with you. And they're kind of slightly crooked. Plus they vanish, they exceed into space on both sides. Let's do another one. Let's do one on the eye level line, going this way. And again, we do the exact same thing. And just like we found out in 1-point perspective, all the lines below your eye level line will recede up, and all the lines above your eye level line recede down. So these are going to come down to that vanishing point over there. And that will recede up. And then you end it off wherever you want to end it off. I'm just going to end it right there. That's a good place to end it. And then remember to draw lightly, because everything that you draw here might get erased. A lot of times they're just for references. Whenever I do a painting or a drawing and I need to do linear perspective to figure out the objects, I do it first on a piece of tracing paper or another piece of paper, because I don't want to have to erase all those lines, those orthogonal lines. You never know how much you need. And so I'll do it on a piece of tracing paper and then move it over and reproduce it on my final canvas or board, whatever I'm working on. So let's do one more above our eye level line. Let's do it right here. And again, we do try to be as accurate as we can by our lines to our vanishing points. Now technically, whenever you're drawing buildings or anything like that, especially cityscapes, you have more than just 2 vanishing points. And your lines aren't necessarily vertical. Most of the time they recede to a point way, 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 way up, maybe even off your page, that is another vanishing point. And depending on where you are, it might be going down to another vanishing point down at the very bottom. There are multiple vanishing points. But for now, we're just going to deal with these 2. Now, when it's above your eye level line, you're going to see this bottom edge. And the closer you are to your eye level line, the thinner that bottom edge is going to appear. If I had more space up here, I'd draw it a little higher, and you'd see a little bit more of that bottom edge, as we do on this one here on the bottom. And again, I'm just going to erase the edge right here so that you can see the object a little clearer. I get confused very easily when it comes to linear perspective, and so I have this little vinyl eraser close by, because I'm always needing to erase something. So that's basically it for part 1. Being able to draw boxes in 2-point perspective is very, very, very basic, and it is the basis of our perspective. So from there, we'll move on to part 2. Make sure you watch that. Thanks for joining me today, and remember, art makes life better.